So I'm excited that my new friend Sarah is willing to share with us. I met her at our last Jewel training, and that's the fun thing about going to headquarters and meeting other friends. Then you can cheer them on and see what they're doing. And she's on fire. She earned Icon. She swept the Cancun contest. So I reached out and said, "You got to tell us what you're doing because we want to hear from you." So I'm excited to hear from Sarah. And I do have a couple questions that I'll ask. Um, and I'm excited because I don't know the answer to a lot of these things. So first, we would just love to hear just a brief health story and then how you got started on the business side.
Hey guys, I'm so happy to be here. I see Dawn. Dawn. I was wondering if I'd see anybody that I knew. Yes, so Jen and I met in Scottsdale over the summer, and she was my best friend for the whole weekend while we were there. But my name is Sarah Payne. I live in a small town called Turtletown, Tennessee. It is a very real place, a very small place. But I have been with Plexus for 7 years in April. I started because in like the years 2018 and prior, I found myself in like this deep mental health crisis. Really, we called it a mental hell. Really, it was so bad. I had gotten to the point where I didn't want to exist anymore. Thought I would do my family a favor and not be here. I had two children at the time. I was just exhausted from the self-loathing, from the hate that I had toward myself. Just lay in my bedroom floor and cry and just blast worship music, just trying to drown out the ugly that was in my mind. And it was a really, really dark place. We tried all of the things. I had all of the lab work done. I had all of the MRIs, all of these things, because there had to be something wrong with my brain, right? And I saw a holistic doctor. He would try different supplements, he would try different things, and it would work for a moment and then not work anymore. So I was just the mom. I would sit on the side of the tub with my elbows propped up on the sink to put my makeup on to go to work and pretend to be a normal person, just soak my clothes with sweat, have to have my husband bring me dry clothes to work because I would just absolutely ruin my clothes. Wake up looking forward to bedtime, addicted to caffeine, gaining weight. I had once had a love for fitness. I lost all of that because all my strength left, all of my caring for any of it had left. And so I found myself in this dark place. Saw this girl. I knew she was from my town, but I didn't know her because she had moved away. And I reached out to her one day, sent her my laundry list of things that were going on. And I said, I don't think you can help me, but maybe you can, because I also found myself randomly in a Plexus testimony group. I have no idea how I got there. And I'm reading these testimonies that are popping up. I'm like, maybe, I don't know. And so she was like, well, I don't know, but I do know that triplex is really effective for a lot of things that maybe you're experiencing. So let's go for it. So I started with triplex in April of 2019, and I have never stopped. It has been such a blessing. And it was just like, it wasn't immediate. We all know that. There were things I did notice quickly, like inflammation leaving my face within the first month, sleeping through the night, not waking up, dreading the day. Those kinds of things I did celebrate quickly. But then, as the months went on, we're like, oh my goodness, I've had more good days than I've had bad days. Talking to my husband, did you notice that? Like, these things haven't popped up. And then later that summer, I added in Vital Biome, and I've never looked back.
I love that. That actually is very touching. So how did you get started in sharing in the business side of things?
I actually told my sponsor is Heather. Heather Head. I don't know if you guys know her. She's my sapphire, but I'd actually told her, don't ask, not doing this. Absolutely not. I've done other companies in the past. I had done companies when I was a young woman, like 20, late teenagers, and it was total fails. And I was like, I'm not doing this. But then, in 2 weeks, I had so many things that I was noticing. So I'm like, well, maybe. So I posted one day just a picture of my pink drink, and it was simple. It was like, come on, gut health. That was it. And then people were like, what are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? And then I panicked and I reached out to her, and I was like, I don't help. I don't know what just happened. And then it just spiraled, because then the more I was sharing, because I couldn't help but not share, I had to share. I felt better. And so I was sharing, people were coming to me, people were trusting me. I didn't know what in the world was going on. So I'm just helping these people. And then I find myself, I started in April, like I said, earning Leaders Retreat that year. It was San Diego when Leaders Retreat was still in October, and found myself earning that. And I'm like, I have no reason to go to San Diego, but let's go. Whatever. We had to use a lot of our savings to buy the plane tickets, but I was like, I earned it. But going to Leaders Retreat that year sealed it for me. I was like, wow, I still don't know what this is going to look like, but we're going to go for it.
I love that. What are some things that you had to overcome in order to share or to kind of keep going and growing?
The biggest thing I've had to overcome is myself. And you all can probably attest to that in our limited beliefs. Because like I said, I live in a place called Turtletown, Tennessee. There we literally it's not actually a real town. We have to drive to town. We just got a Dollar General down the road from me. There's no red lights, none of that, so nobody wants to buy from me. I don't have a far enough reach, those kinds of things. I don't know how to use social media effectively. I didn't have a big social media presence at that time. And um, but along the way, I just began finding my authenticity. Like, what is my voice? What do I have to offer people? What do I have to say? And sorry, that was I didn't mention that in my testimony, but so we had two children, and as I healed, um, I felt like the Lord, because people would ask me, "Are you going to have more children?" And I would say, "Absolutely not." No, laugh in your face. And then I felt like the Lord was like, "That's not your decision to make." So as my body healed and my mind healed and all of that, I had two more Plexus babies. So, um, but yeah, the things I've overcome along the way is just myself. It's you versus you in this. You're in competition with nobody but yourself and the bully in your mind. And if you can overcome the bully in your mind and just do the things, get uncomfortable anyway, you're going to be just fine. And that's where you're going to find growth. Because now in this teeny tiny town, our business reaches from, I mean, Hawaii to Florida to California, it's everywhere. And it was getting to go to that leaders retreat and talking to my Uber driver that took us to the airport on the way home. She's a customer of mine and has been a customer since 2019. It's just cool stuff like that. You find your voice and you find your way to speak to people.
Hmm. I love that. Some of those are similar things that I had to overcome. And I love hearing from others because every excuse that someone wants to use, there's someone who takes that away and makes it work. Was there a time or probably multiple times that you felt like giving up? And obviously you didn't. So what helped you through that?
Multiple times, multiple times. And those times really never crept up on me until I went Emerald. Because I loved it. I loved the journey. I loved going Ruby. I went Ruby and I wasn't Ruby for a year. I went Ruby, held it for a few months, and then I didn't hit Ruby points for a year. And then when I regained Ruby, we went senior Ruby right on the back of that in a couple of months. And then we went Emerald in like 4 months after that. And so when Emerald came, that's when it crept in like, okay, a lot of imposter syndrome, a lot of like, this was a total fluke that I got here. Like, we just had a good few months, all of those things. And um, so, yeah, so from Emerald to now, there's been several times when I wanted to quit, several times. And I would always, I'm a prayerful person, I'm a believer. And I would just always seek God, like, what I heard you, because I started sharing. I believe he said, tell the story and watch what happens, because I had a story that people needed to hear. And so as I began to tell the story, that's how it happened. And then I would go back to that. I just had to keep going back to that. Like, I heard what you said, and I've seen the goodness of this business. And I actually am just coming off one of those times where I'm like, I'm going to quit. And it wasn't like a bitter quit, like I'm just done, I'm throwing in the towel, that kind of thing. Probably back in August. I can't remember what incentive we had going, but I prayed and I was like, I need a miracle this month. I recruit pretty regularly, 1 to 3 people at least a month. But things were really flat. Things were really like I had to let a lot of people go. And I was like, I need a miracle this month. And I signed up enough people to get that incentive that month. I think it was 6 people. And so I was like, okay. And then I had also prayed and I said, I'm going to give this until the end of the year. And it wasn't really an ultimatum. It was just something I had settled in myself. I was like, I'm going to give this till the end of the year because we're a pastor family. I homeschool, we have things to do at our co-op. I also I was able to retire from nursing, but I've gone back to help a friend of mine who has a special needs infant at home. So I help her a few nights a week. So I work some nights. And so I was like, I just can't do this anymore. So at the end of the year, if things haven't changed, I'm just going to take a step back from sharing and leading the way that I do. And I'll just share casually. It'll be fine. I make a decent little income. It's fine. And, yeah. So two of the customers that I signed in August have gone Fast Start Gold as of last month and earned their Cancun trip. So there was my answer. I am not stepping back. I am not going casual. So
That's amazing. It just takes the next thing happening. And I think it's believing when you don't see the proof of that
yeah,
and when you don't see the results. And just think how those people would have missed out and all the people they're impacting would have missed out if you'd said, forget it, I'm
right.
done. That's good. And back to the imposter thing, I think one thing that a lot of us have realized is it doesn't matter what your rank, your income, whatever, that's something you're going to have to deal with. You're never going to necessarily feel like enough. And so we might as well figure it out now. You know what I mean? Because it's going to be a continual thing. Um, okay, I would love to hear some things that you do for your own personal mindset and growth that help you.
Yeah. So one thing that I really like to do is I listen to a lot of sermons. I like to listen to several different pastors and leaders, and I like to find podcasts that are faith based but also wealth based because the two can go together. That's another thing that I've had to settle in my mind over the years. Like I don't have to separate my faith and business. Hello, the business is a gift here, so we're going to steward it well. But so I do listen to a lot of sermons daily. I read a lot of books, of course, everything we've all read, John Maxwell, all of those things. So sermons, books, podcasts. If corporate is offering something, I'm on because they have so many ways that they pour out to us. I'm on it. Just like all of the diamonds got together and did diamonds in December last month. Every single one of them. I watched. My team watched. We discussed it. And when I first started, I don't know where everybody on here is at in their journey, but when I first started, I absolutely became addicted to finding videos because this was 2019. We didn't have the Plexus Go app and all those things, but YouTube had a plethora of information. I fell in love with Brooke Hemingway and people like that, and I would watch every single video I could get my hands on, just building that belief and just, okay, these were normal people. These were normal moms. These were people that their finances were tanked and they made a way, like, okay, I can do this too. And I would just learn. I would learn the products. I would watch things over and over and over and read all of the things. And so I just love to learn. We really have to become learners. And we hear that all the time as well, that leaders are learners and readers and just constantly finding something. And then convention is non-negotiable for me. And actually, um, my third child, my daughter, uh, it was still COVID time when she was born, but her first birthday fell on the convention that we got to all gather back together. But it's her birthday every convention, but I go to convention.
Yeah, that's amazing. You have to look at the long term of
hmm
things for sure. And as far as trainings, whatever your style or whoever you relate to, there's someone out there,
Yeah.
that you can find for sure. That's good. So a lot of times people will ask the question, how did you find others to do this with you? So we always like to hear from different people to see if there's any secret that we're missing or not.
Yeah. Oh, Marion said Jen and I miss birthdays at convention too. Yeah. And
Uh,
I know, oh my gosh, her name just left me, but it was the same. Her son and my daughter were born at the same time. Um,
mm,
so finding these people, I wish I had a perfect strategy for you that would bring you in your next gold and your next emerald. But I think the way that I have found others is I didn't quit. I haven't stopped. And even when my belief was wavering in myself, my belief has never wavered in the products or the business model or Plexus at all. My belief's always solid in those places. It's like I said, it's you versus you. It's me versus me always. And so I always try to lead with authenticity. I'm always posting authentically. You'll hear me tell my real story online. Um, but I've always stayed and I've always posted. I've always told my story. I'm always in my story. I'm always reaching out. And when I do sign customers, I'm taking care of those customers. And like, for example, because we all face this as well. Like, I don't want to reach out to her. Like, oh, she's intimidating. She's going to say no, that kind of thing. When I post stories, I go through and I see who viewed those stories. A lot of times it's my customers. A lot of times it's somebody that I've talked to a million times that I'm not going to reach out to again because I'm tired of talking to you. But sometimes there's that person and you've noticed their name and you've ignored it several times. So one of my new fast start goals was one of those. She and I were in classical conversations together. She was the director the last year that we were there, and I would sit on the playground and think, man, she and I could do this together, but I never reached out. And that was 2 years ago. And because I knew she was a crunchy-ish mom and I knew she was like me and she's just sweet and kind and people respected her, but I never told her that. But then I see her in my stories and I just reached out one day. I was like, listen, I've never brought it up and I'm so sorry that I never brought it up because I took your choice away when I didn't bring it up, right? If you don't, you're taking their choice away. And if you don't, somebody else might. So we have to reach out to those people. But we had the conversation. She's like, I'm still breastfeeding. I've kind of been thinking about it. I don't know. And I'm like, good for you because you can be here while you're breastfeeding. And she came in and she first was like, I want to take the products for a little while first, study them, get to know them before I start sharing, before I consider that. And I'm like, no problem at all. So she starts in August. I let her be a customer through September. And then October rolled around. I was like, listen, bringing it up again because again if I don't offer it again I'm taking away your choice. And she was all in October. Silver in October, senior silver in November, and gold in December, and earned Cancun and the first prize. So and then another one of my miracles, she became a customer in August, has been my friend for 16 years and has watched me for almost 7 years. Didn't think she needed Plexus. She had supplements she was comfortable with, but decided she wanted to consolidate where she bought her products from and thought, I love my friend. I'm going to support her in that way. Actually felt a difference with the supplements that she was taking and then couldn't keep it to herself. And again, I had offered it to her. She was a little hesitant, brought it up again. So when somebody says no, it usually just means not right now. Go back. And as long as you have a heart for it, like, hey, I know you could probably use $450 this month. It's your choice. But if I don't tell you, I take that choice away. And so they will both be in Cancun with me next month. And I'm just so excited. I'm so thankful.
That's amazing. That actually gave me goosebumps. But you were continuing to go out there and share with others, but just, when I hear stories about, a friend from that many years or it's encouraging for sure.
Yeah.
And I think it maybe gives us that little boost to, okay, just go ahead, reach out to that person. What's the worst that could happen? They could say no,
They can say no or they can say nothing. And either way, it
or not,
changes nothing about you.
exactly. Or not yet. Yeah. I'm excited for how God has been blessing
Yeah.
you and how he will in the future for sure. So last one would just be what are some of the ups and downs you've experienced or maybe some takeaways? I don't know, whatever you prefer to talk about.
Okay. I did take a few notes on these things, but I think the ups and downs over the years have just been finding your footing because you have to find and determine what kind of leader do you want to be? What kind of team are you bringing up and leading? Because I have had those times where we brought in toxic people, not knowing that it was going to be that way. Yeah. People who came in wanted to be leaders themselves and then just brought a toxic culture. Like that's not what I want. And thankfully that fell away. But you just have to determine what kind of leader you want to be, what kind of culture are you building, because it's great to be on your Jules team. But if your aspiration is also to be that one day, you're building a culture, a subculture too. You're building something too, and you get to determine what that looks like. I've gone through seasons where I'm sorry, he wants a pin. Yeah. Hey. So I've gone through seasons where I thought somebody was in it for the long game, thought they had caught the vision, thought they were here for the long haul, and they weren't. I've had seasons where people liked the fast money, like teachers during the summer or something like that, but then couldn't keep up with what it took to sustain a business. I've had times in my business where I was absolutely back to square one, and that was me over this summer. Like I have no one. That's where I was over the summer. Like I'm done dragging people. I'm done begging people to care about their business. I'm done, and you know, gracefully, you can let people go. You can say, this may not be the right time right now, and that's okay. I still love you. Like I had a conversation with one of my girls the other day, um, because she came to me and she's like, I just don't think it's for me. Um, my passion's not there. Like I don't care about people. She's in a hard place right now with life. And I told her, I said, you have a seat at the table just because of who you are, not because of what you're doing for your business or my business or anybody else's. So we have to be okay with letting people go and loving them where they are for a time. So that's just a lot of that leadership stuff that I've had to figure out. And if it's not the time, it's not the time. I'm not going to make you, but I'll be here when you're ready. And that's what my leaders, people who have come and gone, they know that, because this particular person that I'm talking about, she started with me almost 7 years ago, started to share, became silver pretty quickly, and then life happened, and then she came back because I'm still here. It's the consistency. You have to be consistent even when you don't feel like it.
That's so good. I love that. And when they see that you're still there and they know you're there, that provides security and
Yeah.
dependability. I feel like I could listen to you all night for sure. You have a lot of wisdom. I hope you know
Thank
that.
you. Thank you.
Should we open up for questions or do you want to
Yeah,
leave some takeaways or what do you prefer?
I'm good with questions if anybody has
Questions?
anything.
Okay. Does anyone have any questions for Sarah? Hmm.
This
If
is
not,
this is the
yeah, go
part
ahead.
that flexes, baby.
Aw.
I'm going to say something serious, and then I'm going to say something really funny because I really don't have a deep question for you. But seriously, I want you to know that your testimony was one of the first testimonies that I really connected with in our testimony group, because my whole family has really struggled with mental health, and you drew me in. And I just want you to know that you gave me hope when I was a new person 6 years ago. And so, just as an encouragement to all of you, like knowing that you've been with the company for 7 years, it's not that much longer than I've been with the company, but your testimony was so powerful. And like, seriously, it is one of the top five that in my brain, those were the first people that drew me in. So, all the love in the world for you for that. But here's my funny. I want you to wildly speculate about what the new product is that is coming this weekend.
You want me to speculate?
I do, I do.
I know what I hope it is.
Okay, tell me what you hope it is.
I hope we're getting into like the fitness and like the creatines and the stuff like that, because my
Okay,
husband's got me on a creatine um because I have some fitness goals, and I would like to be able to get it from us, but
okay,
I know,
good
like,
to know.
the last time we went to corporate, we were picking their brains, like, come on, guys, we've got to get into the gym world, into the fitness realm. And they're like, oh, there's just not a market. I'm like, there is a market, I promise. Open it up. Bring us a creatine.
All right, good to know. Thank you for your wild speculation.
And I remember the first time I met Dawn, it was beautiful. It was at Ruby's on the Rise, wasn't it? Because I went Ruby and Emerald back to back, or I regained Ruby, Senior Ruby, and then went Emerald, and they allowed me to still go. And she came up to me in one of the sessions and was just boo-hooing, and I'm like, oh my gosh. And then she's just been a sweet friend since.
I love that, those connections. Does anyone else have a question for Sarah?
I'll ask a question.
Mhm.
With how many kids do you have?
I have 4 total.
Okay. And
They
how old
range,
are they?
we have 16, 11, 4, and 2.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was literally done, and then we started all over.
That's awesome. So how do you fit in working your business?
Oh, so it has become different lately, but I try, especially Mondays is my customer check-in day. Non-negotiable. Like I'm checking in on my customers on Monday. Follow-up Fridays. We all do that. Otherwise, it's she just does a little bit of school now. She's 4. My 11-year-old is pretty independent, so we can all sit down at the table together. She can do a little worksheet. My 11-year-old's doing her own thing, and I can get some work cranked out while we all sit around the table. And then otherwise, Monday is usually my day where I'm really, because I have my team call at 9 o'clock tonight, and all of that stuff. But it fits where it fits. And then there's some days where it's like, I just need you guys to leave me alone for a half hour. I need to go be at my desk to get some things done. But and that's another thing. That's another one of those ups and downs, because there have been seasons where I could sit down and work for a very long time. And then there's been seasons where it's like I've got to catch 30 minutes here and there while someone's napping or while someone's occupied and those things.
That was a good question. I don't know if anyone else has a last one, but I kind of want to hear what you would have said to yourself years ago. I didn't think of that till now.
What I would have said to myself as myself now.
Or what your future, you know what I mean? Like what you would now say to yourself back then,
Yeah.
as an encouragement.
Yeah. I would just tell her to just keep going. Like just what I've done. Like don't quit and lean into the hard, because I think a lot of times we try to push away from the hard. Like this sucks right now and I don't want it. But if we lean into it, there's a lesson. When people leave, there's a reason. When people come, there's a reason. But just lean into everything that feels uncomfortable. Um, I don't think I wish that anything would have happened faster, because I think it happened the way it was supposed to. I went Emerald in like 4 years, and that was great and that was perfect and kept the vision forefront. Like literally, I made vision boards, and I didn't even have a color printer, print out a black and white picture of a Lexus, black and white pictures of our heads, and glue them in the Lexus. Black and white picture of the interior of an airplane, print out our heads, stick our heads in there, like the vision is here. The vision is clear and it's still up there. I'd now have a colored vision board, but but just lean in and don't quit. And um don't count yourself out, really, because any of us can do this. Literally, if I can do this, anybody can do this. Your next person that you get to take to the top could be the next conversation you have. So don't that's what I would stop avoiding the conversations, because I've always been really bad to do that, and I have to talk myself back into it. Like, okay, they can't eat me, they're not going to kill me. If they never talk to me again, okay, fine, whatever. And people have always been so gracious to just be like, yeah, maybe later, but not right now. So just do the hard things. Do the hard things.
That's good. That's really good. All right. Well, I think we might just wrap it up to give Marion time to hop on her other call. But thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate you sharing your journey, your experiences, your insight, and your wisdom. And I know that we all have learned from you. So look forward to seeing the future.
All right. Thank you. How many people am I going to see in Cancun? Yay. All right. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you.